Welcome to Bay State Golf. I am your host, Sean Melia. I'm trying to play every golf course in the state of Massachusetts. As of right now, I have played 142 different courses, public and private, good and bad, since 2020. Today, I'm going to share with you 6 golf courses that I found to be very challenging. We're going to talk a little bit about their slopes, about what makes each of them hard. They're difficult in different ways. So let's get into it. First on this list of golf courses I have played that I found very challenging is George Wright in Boston. It has a 133 slope, which is pretty high. The things that make George Wright challenging for really any level of golfer is the fact that there are a bunch of blind tee shots, especially in the middle of the round. Once you get to the 5th tee box, you're basically not going to see your golf ball from the tee where it lands on the fairway for almost 7 holes. You get to 13, and it's really the first time you can see your landing spot after playing the first 4 holes. So the middle of the round is tough. There's still a bunch of blind shots even after you get to 13. The 15th hole is blind, and also the 18th hole. So a lot of blind shots, a lot of tree line holes, a lot of elevation changes and uneven lies. You can get a lot of funny bounces. So that's what makes George Wright such a tough golf course to play. Number 2 on my list is Cyprian Keys in Boylston. It is a 139 slope. This is white knuckle golf, maybe at its best or worst, whatever you like as far as target golf. It requires a ton of patience off the tee if you really are there to try to shoot a number or to play well. It is definitely a course that is gettable if you can keep the ball on a string. I played in a Mass Public Links qualifier there last year, and it was a very nerve-wracking round of golf because you are just trying to be so careful, especially through the first 4, 5, 6 holes. The 8th hole is really the first one where you can feel comfortable hitting a driver. A lot of out of bounds, a lot of hazards, a lot of cross hazards. Also elevation change. You are playing up and down some big slopes. Par 3s are a challenge as well. The greens are pretty tough. They're pretty big. A lot of different tiers. If you end up in the wrong spot, you have some tough chips or putts. Cyprian Keys is a very challenging golf course out in Boylston. Very different from George Wright as far as just the way you have to get your golf ball around. And you want to be very careful with your golf ball off every tee box at Cyprian Keys to make sure that you can play a good round if that's what you want to do. Number 3 on my list is Miacomet. And when I say number 3, I'm kind of just going up in slope rating. And Miacomet is a 139 as well, just like Cyprian Keys. Wind, challenging bunkers, length. This golf course hosted a USGA championship in 2021 along with Sankaty Head. The US Mid-Am was there. And the golf course is just, big. It's pretty wide. You can go there and play with one golf ball. It's another different challenge from George Wright and from Cyprian Keys. But what makes it hard is the greens are tough. It can be a firm and fast golf course because it's got that sandy island Nantucket soil. It is a expensive round of golf to play as well. It's $270, $275 in the summer. But you can play it off season for $70, basically up until April, from November to April. And it's just a good, big, brawny golf course with challenging greens. It's firm and fast, and the wind can play a big part in what makes the golf course so challenging. 4th on this list is the Ranch in Southwick. We're going to head a good bit west in Massachusetts. This is a golf course that has some George Wright energy to it, just as far as blind tee shots, a lot of elevation change, a lot of length, tough par 3s, some par 5s that you can get at, but you could also end up losing golf balls because you don't know where the big slopes and the moguls on these fairways can take your ball. So it's a good test for people who want to figure out if they can hit the ball far enough to play good golf. And you can end up on some of these holes because the elevation change and because of the slopes, balls can kind of bound into the woods. You do have to hit it far and straight. Greens are For the most part, pretty big, not super sloped or slopey. So if you can find greens in regulation, you can shoot a good number. But if you are kind of struggling off the tee, don't hit it too far. You got to make sure you choose the right tee box. But the ranch is definitely a very challenging place. When I played it in the fall of 2024, we played it in like 25, 30 mile per hour winds. It was a tough day. I had played 9 holes that morning as well, walked all 27 holes. It's a very challenging walk as well, with the amount of climbs and slopes and kind of hills you're going up and down throughout the round. So the ranch, very tough golf course, in excellent shape, a great place to go for a day trip if you live in Eastern Mass and you want to go and just play somewhere different. The ranch is definitely worth checking out, even though it's tough. Pick the right tees and you'll be just fine. Widow's Walk is next on the list, a slope of 144, and it is a target golf course to a tee. Just a lot of tee shots where you got to hit it in the right place. A lot of marshland, wetlands that kind of cut into holes. A lot of blind tee shots. Definitely a place where course knowledge plays a huge part in getting the ball around. I've only played here once. When I checked it off, it's down in Scituate, Massachusetts, and it's going to challenge you. It's going to make you stay patient. It's a little bit in that Cyprian Keys kind of challenge where you've got just forests and some heavy wooded areas, and if you hit it in there, you're pretty much toast. Some good par threes, and once you kind of get a little course knowledge similar to Cyprian Keys, and you figure out the tee shots you want to play, you can probably get it around and cut your strokes very quickly if you were a regular there. But man, if you go there and you've never seen it before, it is a very tough place to play Widow's Walk in Scituate. And then finally, kind of heading back towards central Massachusetts, Shaker Hills has a slope of 145. It is hosting the Mass 4-Ball this year, 2025, along with Marlborough. Should be an interesting kind of dynamic between those two courses. Shaker is another golf course that has some extreme land. It's got some tough par threes. You've got a lot of spots where the ball can kind of trundle off into the woods. The closing few holes in the par fives are very tough. You have to be very careful with what line you take off the tee for those shots, because the ball can end up just careening off the fairway and directly into some tough wooded areas. A lot of length there and a lot of uphill and downhill shots. Shaker Hills is a tough place to play, especially in the middle of the summer. If it's dry and the place is playing firm and fast, you can watch your ball end up in some funny places, watch your ball roll down some slopes. You got to be careful with where you're hitting your shots, picking the proper lines. Just a good challenge overall at Shaker Hills. Again, another place where if you do have a sense of where you want to hit the ball and what you want to do with it, you can shoot a pretty good round if you pick the right tees as well. But it is a good test, and you will want to hit your ball well to have an enjoyable day and score well if that's what you want to do at Shaker Hills. I am well aware that there are a ton of tough golf courses in Massachusetts. I know as I look at my list, I don't have anything on Cape Cod, and that's because I haven't played a lot of golf on Cape Cod in my quest, to be honest, and nothing stood out to me as a really, really challenging golf course. I found kind of down in that area, Waverly Oaks, to be pretty tough. Just especially, there's a couple holes that are very hard, but as a collection, I would put it in this, it's close to this category, but not quite. Also, Bayberry Hills I've played, not super challenging as far as like just going and maybe getting your butt kicked if you have a day where you're not hitting the ball great. So I would love if you have any golf courses you find very tough that you think I should check out this year. Throw them in the comments, whether it's on the Cape or anywhere else in Massachusetts or New England. Would love to hear from you, and maybe I will go and get my butt kicked at some point in 2025 by one of the courses that you recommend. Thanks as always for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe to my newsletter, which is at baystategolf.beehive.com. Every Friday I send a free newsletter out kind of collects all of the stuff that I've done on Instagram, on YouTube, any podcasts, interviews that I have done around golf, do a little bit of writing, and just throw it all in a newsletter. And I also share some weekly favorites that are nothing to do with golf. What I've read, what I've watched, what I've eaten, what I've cooked, whatever I've kind of just done during the week. It's a nice way for me to kind of collect stuff that I've done and share it with all of you. So you can follow that and subscribe at baystate.beehiiv.com, and you can get my newsletter every Friday for free. Thanks again, and we will see you next time.